How do you add harmonic depth to your playing? How do you get to understand chords and explore sounds and actually expand your harmonic language so that you can become a much more fluent and sophisticated arranger, composer? Hey everyone, my name is Lorenzo Ferreira. I'm a saxophonist, composer, and arranger. And in today's video, I have something very special to share with you and a little bit different from my other more improvisation related videos. Today, I want to show you one of the techniques that has allowed me to drastically expand and sophisticate my harmonic language, and not only in the piano, but as an arranger and even in the saxophone. And this is a process of experimentation that I think every musician should do. To get started, every musician, if you're a saxophone player or a single line instrument, you should have some piano knowledge, because the piano is going to be your best harmonic friend. It's the instrument where you'll get to actually understand chord progressions and hear how things sound vertically. So it's crucial to me. Actually, a lot of my method, and if you've watched some of my other videos about the 2-chord method and how to really focus on a few things at a time to boost your improvisation skills, that came from me practicing piano. And actually I wanted to play over entire chord progressions, but I realized that it was too overwhelming. So what I started doing was just focusing on 2 chords at a time and really testing all the inversions and figuring out all these beautiful ways there is to connect 2 chords at a time. That's where that came from. But in today's video, I want to show you a very special technique that expanded my harmonic depth. And that is the concept of reharmonizing one note. Now, what is reharmonization? If you've never heard that term, that means you can transform the chords by adding more chords or replacing chords and adding harmonic depth, or even just playing around with tensions and adding more color. That is reharmonization. But in this video, I want to talk about specifically the concept of grabbing one simple note in the piano and harmonizing it in all 12 keys. Basically, you're going to pick a note on the piano, like a C, and I'm going to show you how you can make that note fit chords with every single root that will go down chromatically. So I will basically play chords that contain all these roots. What's going to happen is that C in my right hand's always going to be at the top. And I'm going to make it fit every single chord. I'm going to go chromatically, and I'm going to make that note be either the 5th, the 3rd, or a tension. And the fact that I go down chromatically is actually going to expand my mindset, because I'm going to have to think on what quality of the chord I should pick. For instance, we can start with just a C major triad for the first one, right? Now, if I go down to B, now this is a C, is the flat 9 of a B, so I don't have a lot of option other than a B7 flat 9, right? You can even put a flat 13 as well. You have this beautiful chord, right? I'm having that C right there. Now, if I go down to the B flat, just hear the 2 notes together. Okay, that's going to be the 9th, right? So now I have plenty of options. This could be a B flat major 9th. Beautiful. It could be a B flat minor 9th. Still the C there. Or it could be a B sus. Beautiful sounds. So you have all these beautiful options there, and then you can actually have more fun and do even diminished chords and stuff like that, right? But it just makes you really explore all the different qualities of the chord and how you can make that initial note, the top note, fit into all sorts of harmonic structures by just going and descending. And you don't have to do this chromatically. You can later on just pick a random root and see how you can make that C fit on any root, and just trying to convert and pick a good quality that will make that note sound good over that chord, if that makes sense. So if you keep going down, I have the C, I go down to A. Now this could be A minor, it's a 3rd right now, or it could be A7. How about sharp 9? So now you stay on that A and just figure out all the different things that you could, all the different chords that you could put that contain that C. How about minor 7 flat 5? Now it's still the minor 3rd. So you have all these options. Now you go down to A flat. Triad, major 7, it's the 3rd. Could be a dominant as well. So it's pretty much, it has to be major because you have C is the major third in this case. Now how about you keep going down to a G? Now this is the fourth, so it could be a sus chord with tensions if you wanted to. Beautiful. Now how about I go down? Now in this case, it's naturally the sharp 11, so I probably have to pick a chord that has a sharp 11, either major 7, how about I do, you know, you can even do like, I'm doing here an A flat over the G flat, or just, you can kind of experiment a little bit there, you know, but the fact that you stay there and limit yourself to that, you have to be like, oh, that C has to be on top. And then you go down to F, that's just the fifth, so it could be major 7, pretty standard. It could be minor, the fifth tolerates a lot of things. Minor, it could be sus, then you go down to the E, and this could be many things, it could be first inversion, right? Or how about E7, flat 13 right there. Beautiful. Now I go down to E flat. That's still like some sort of 13. That's natural 13. So it could be major or just a 6th chord. Or it could be a dominant chord, and that would be the natural 13. You can even put other tensions like the sharp 11. Then you go down to D. And that's pretty much the minor 7. So it's either a minor chord like this, or it could be a dominant chord. And that note still fits there, right? Now we go down to D flat. That's a major 7. So it's likely you just have the option of major 7 chord. Or if you wanted a minor major 7 chord, right? But I want to leave it there. So basically, you pick a top note and you go down chromatically and you make that note fit every single chord by just adjusting the quality of those chords and adjusting it so that that note is either a chord tone or a tension. Most likely, on some of them will be a chord tone, like the 5th and the 3rd that you saw on like A or an A flat. But on others, like B flat, or when you go down to like an E flat, it's naturally going to be a tension, right? So this allows you to test and really figure out what sounds you can get, and in fact you can make 2, 3, 4 versions of this where you actually pick different quality of chords and you keep that C on top. I'm going to show you 2 versions right now that are completely different. Let's start with this one. I'm going to break it down. C major triad, B7 flat 9, flat 13, B flat add 9, A7, now the C is a sharp 9, A flat major 7, we got the C there, I make the G a sus, still there, I make this G flat, the sharp 11, so basically an A flat triad over the G flat, I keep the C there. Keep going down. We have an F major 7, the 5th now. Like I showed you that E7 with the flat 9. Now this is the flat 13. I keep going. Dominant. We got the E flat 7 with the sharp 11 and the 13 there. I'm gonna keep going down. Very simple, D minor 7, and finally we get the D flat major 7. This is the 7th. Now you can do things like you can have more tensions, you can add layer tensions below that, but the idea is to keep that top note the same. So basically, it's almost like you're reharming that top note. Let's say that initially it's just a C major, and now you can do all of these things. Gives you a lot of harmonic flexibility, and now you don't have to just go chromatically. How about I just randomly go by like thirds, right? half step below, how about sus? So that C at the top is my anchor, and I just move the chords, even in random ways like I'm doing it, selecting my major, minor. I'm not thinking a lot about functionality for this, because the idea is to really extract as many colors as you can figure out. This has helped me a lot, especially if you also, when you play the saxophone and you play a single line instrument and you're playing that note, you're going to start hearing more things below that you can play, which is something really beautiful. When the pianist plays a chord and you play a note, there's a lot of profound things that you can play below that, and this will help you expand your ears. So let me show you now a completely different version that contains other types of chords. So I'm going to try to not repeat any of the chords from the previous version. So now instead of C major, I'm going to start with C minor. Then when I go down to B, how about I do something like an F over a B, very tense. Then instead of major, I'm going to B flat minor. Then A minor, A flat dominant. Now here, pretty much has to be sus, but how about sus flat 9? Then for the other one, instead of just a sharp 11 as a major chord, how about I do really nice Lydian dominant sound with a sharp 11. Then, instead of major, I'm going to do minor now. And then here, how about I do first inversion, C on first inversion. Then, how about here I do major 7, 13th. Now a dominant instead of major for the D7. Now how about here I pick something really interesting, a diminished chord. That being a tension, the major 7. Or you can just go back to major. And then finally, for my last one, it'll be major again, right? So let's hear this version out. So it's pretty interesting. You can create so much more harmonic depth by doing this. And it also, we're not thinking functionally. We're not on any key. This is so that when you probably heard many like musicals and things like that, where somebody's holding a note in the pianist or the harmonic. Harmony just moves so much. You're like, wow, what's happening there? Yeah, there's a lot of functionality, but a lot of it comes from understanding how you can have one note and harmonize it in all of these different ways. Just pick a random root. Pick any note, like a C, right? Let's pick a random root. I'm gonna pick G, like this, G flat, and then okay, the relationship there is a sharp 11. It's gonna be some sort of sharp 11. So figure out all the sounds, right? Then when you move to another chord, keep that same note as your anchor. That's really going to help you a lot on trying to figure out all of these things below that note. Instead of just coming up from the chords right away, you just keep that note as your pedal, a top pedal, right? This is beautiful. It's kind of the opposite of like when you have an actual pedal in the bass. This is a top pedal, almost like a singer, or imagine a saxophone is just playing that note, sustaining it, you're playing all these chords below. It's just a great little exercise. It's a chromatic reharmonization that helps you boost your ears, and it's a good way to actually start understanding movements and voice leading and how chords can move and how you can harmonize the same note in hundreds of ways. And actually the best thing about this that is really liberating is that any note can have any root. So when you're stuck thinking what I'm gonna pick, what I'm gonna do, think about that. Any note that you pick can actually have any root, depending. It's just your creativity of picking the right quality, major, minor, sus chord, flat 9. How are you going to color that chord? Hence coloring that note. So that note can be anything, and that is truly liberating. And it's an exercise that I totally recommend. You sit down on the piano, just pick a note, first play that note with all the roots, descending, and then just pick a quality. And if you're not very good at piano, then just do it slowly. Okay, major, okay, then You get the idea. Just do it slowly and it's going to be amazing. You're going to get so much out of this just by experimenting and increasing your harmonic depth as a piano player, as an arranger, and even as a performer. This is going to help you just expand your ears. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you like this channel, make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications. I post a new tutorial every Tuesday, and please leave in the comments what kind of videos you would like to see next. See you on the next one.